Making headlines tonight, BAMP cautions Barbadians about the start of the flu season. A new award in honor of the late former Prime Minister Owen Arthur to be presented during the upcoming BLP conference. The Barbados Trust Fund launches a new project to help entrepreneurs. And coming up in sports, no room for error as the West Indies seek victory against Zimbabwe to stay in World Cup contention.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Just as Barbadians appear to be getting an ease from COVID-19, they're forced to deal with another virus, the flu. There are reports of a rise in cases of people presenting with flu-like symptoms at doctors' offices. And tonight, the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners is warning people to be cautious and protect themselves. First Vice President Dr. Dana Grandison notes this time of year coincides with what is traditionally known as flu season.
The seasonal flu is caused by the influenza virus. There are 4 types of influenza viruses: A, B, C, and D. Human influenza A and B viruses cause seasonal flu epidemics of disease, known as flu season. Flu season most commonly occurs between the months of October to May, with peaks in December and February.
Dr. Gradison adds that the flu virus can present with such symptoms such as muscle aches, tiredness, cough, fever, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, or headaches. She shared some precautions and tips with Barbadians to protect themselves during this flu season.
There's no better way to protect yourself than getting vaccinated. Seasonal flu vaccines are available and have been available and are extremely efficient and effective in preventing persons from having some of the potentially serious complications associated with seasonal flu. Most importantly, avoid close contact, cover your mouth and nose, clean your hands, avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, and in general, practice good, healthy habits. These include getting adequate rest, being physically active, drinking plenty of fluids, and eating nutritionally dense foods. I wish to encourage everyone, please protect yourself during this flu season.
Barbados is getting international help to better protect its citizens from social shocks caused by crises like disasters. This was the focus of a special training course launched this morning at the Accra Hotel. The Shock Responsive Social Protection in the Caribbean 4-day training course has been designed by the World Food Programme in partnership with the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Government of Barbados. The 3 modules course will bring together learning and knowledge from a rich body of experience, evidence and training materials. It aims to develop and enhance capacities to strengthen social protection systems through preparedness measures and build technical competencies to design and implement social protection programs to support individuals, households and communities affected by shocks. Food insecurity refers to the lack of reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food, and Representative and Country Director of the World Food Programme's Caribbean Multi-Country Office, Regis Chapman, says 52% of Barbadians who've participated in recent surveys are either moderately or severely food insecure.
Now, there's a danger that these people and others could be left further behind if social protection systems are not equipped to reach them before it's too late. So the World Food Programme's work in the English and Dutch-speaking Caribbean seeks to strengthen social protection, disaster management, and food systems, particularly in response to crises. In the area of social protection, we focus on tailored strategic interventions to enhance institutional arrangements, targeting mechanisms, data and information systems, delivery mechanisms, coordination, and financing mechanisms.
Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Kirk Humphrey says the relationships government has with its partners in the social protection system is critical and must be strengthened.
I'm pretty much convinced that if we have a strong social protection system, if we have one that works, we not only respond faster, but then we have a little bit more resilience to deal with it better in the first place. And therefore, if we can build those systems, we prevent the worst case scenarios from happening. because we have very little control over the shocks that are coming. We've seen that. We know that we have very little control over whether there is going to be a hurricane or not. We have very little control over whether there's going to be ashfall or not. We now started planning for things that we never even planned for before.
Mr. Humphrey says too often the social aspect of a crisis is ignored.
We treated COVID primarily as if it were a medical issue, which it was, of course, but it was also a social problem. And if we kept that at the forefront of our thinking, then we would have put in place extra systems to be able to help the poor. I know, for example, that we are now dealing with persons with disabilities who suffered immensely during COVID. Because we were so concerned about our capacity to be able to help people to live, that we forgot that people needed to feel alive even as they lived. And there were persons with disabilities who told me they could not communicate because of the mask, people who read lips. People with disabilities told me that they were in their houses alone, nobody came to check on them.
During the launch, representatives of the World Food Programme presented 95 tablets to help the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs digitalization program. The Barbados Labour Party is expecting some 1,100 delegates for its annual conference this year. The annual conference, being held under the theme Riding Rough Waves with Resilience, Taking Fresh Guard, gets underway Friday and ends on Sunday in Queen's Park. The party's Chief Executive Officer, Patricia Paris, told a press briefing today that after the COVID break, a number of new elements will be unveiled.
These delegates will include a delegation from the New York chapter and the UK branch. Like me, the delegates are eagerly looking forward to this year's conference because the conference chair would have said that we did not have a full conference since 2019. So it will be the first one since 2019. Our annual conference booklet this year will be over 100 pages. It is the first time that we will be having a booklet of this size.
Paris has made it clear the CEO is not a new position, but one which has been vacant for 15 years. She says part of her role includes liaising with all the constituencies, and she's reported that all 30 AGMs were concluded ahead of the conference. She's invited Barbadians to come to the park to hear the Prime Minister.
The highlight of the annual conference will be the feature address from our political leader and chairman and Prime Minister, the Honorable Mia Amor Motley, on Saturday, 4:30 p.m. in Queen's Park, and is open to the public. So, speaking to persons online, you can come down to Queen's Park, 4:30, to hear the Prime Minister's address.
Meanwhile, the BLP has introduced a new award in honor of the late former Prime Minister Owen Arthur. The Owen Arthur Award will be presented during the upcoming annual conference. Conference Chairman and MP for St. Michael West, Chris Gibbs, says it will be bestowed on an individual from St. Peter. 46 people will be awarded during the ceremony set for Friday. Mr. Gibbs says Saturday is the day for party business, where a number of reports will be presented.
Members want to hear from the ministers on, obviously, the reformation process. So we will be hearing from ministers on infrastructure reform. We will hear from them on the social sectors. We will hear from them on health and wellness, which includes, as we transition from the battle against COVID-19 to fighting chronic NCDs, which obviously is a major issue in our country today. So we will hear from the minister responsible for that fight. We will hear from the ministers responsible for welfare. Obviously, that is going to be very important going forward.
A man was killed and 2 others injured last night in a shooting in the city. Police, in a statement, say 2 people on a motorcycle discharged a number of rounds at individuals on the block while riding along Nelson Street and Fairchild Street. The shooting took place at 20 minutes to 9. The deceased has been identified as 26-year-old Rashawn Alexander. He passed away at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital early this morning. Police are asking anyone with information about the shooting to contact Police Emergency at 211 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477. Coming up after the break, Fairchild Street market vendors could be operating from their new stalls soon. An effort is underway to strengthen Barbadian entrepreneurs and upscale their products. The Barbados Trust Fund is playing its part in the drive through a manufacturing incubator dubbed Manufest, set to be launched this Friday. Business development consultant Nicole Ford says over 100 entrepreneurs stand to benefit. She provided further insight into the initiative on CBC TV8's Morning Barbados.
For the next 6 weeks, the Barbados Trust Fund Limited is going to be working with a maximum of 105 entrepreneurs to see their businesses move through a series of activities to develop them from strength to strength. What is going to happen is that we are working with them to develop themselves, we're working with them to develop their products, we're working with them to develop their overall businesses. So we're going to be starting with some training. Training is going to go through things like costing and pricing, where we are sure that entrepreneurs, we're making sure that they put in all of those inputs. They know exactly all of the overheads. They're including the utilities in those prices. They're including every input that needs to go into the price. They're also working on social media management. We're working on those presentation skills for entrepreneurs.
Displaced Fairchild Street Market vendors who were relocated due to ongoing work at the city market could be operating from their new stalls soon. Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security Indar Ware expects the stalls will be ready for allocation by the end of November.
We are making every effort to make sure that we can get back the vendors in Fairchild Street to complete phase 2 of that project. Phase 1 was already completed last year. And even though there were minor things to be done, we have allocated most of the stalls in phase 1 to the food and beverage vendors. We are now moving to phase 2, where we will bring in the vendors who do fruits and vegetables, and also those vendors who sell snacks and those types of things. The cobblers, the barbers, etc. will all be coming back there. And I am pushing hard to make sure that we can achieve majority of the relocations by the end of November.
The students of Arthur Smith School have held their own market as part of World Food Day celebrations earlier this week. Wendy Burke tells us the theme was local foods, endless possibilities.
The activities involved students, parents, teachers and members of the community. Several types of food and drink were on display. Teacher Akia Brathwaite told CBC News what was required of the students.
Each year group would have been given a particular food in which they had to do inquiry research-based projects. We have watermelon on display today, we have sweet potatoes, we have carrots, we have cucumber, we have bananas, we have breadfruit.
Student Kaylee Brewster was very excited about her watermelon project. She received help from her father.
And then he cut it out, he take off the tip, then we get the watermelon from inside, he scrape it out, he put it in a bowl, we get our cookie chip, and we put it into the watermelon and apple. When we finish that, we get the watermelon skin and we cut it out with our cookie shapers.
The market and the displays were aimed at introducing different forms of learning while helping the youths to appreciate agriculture.
At Arthur Smith Primary School, we believe in developing 21st century skills and competencies. So our project was focused on collaboration, critical thinking, innovation, communication. It was an effort by parents, teachers, the local community. We have a local market on display where we got donations of crops and local fruits and vegetables.
The children, parents, teachers and community all left the market with food in hand and food for thought as they discovered the endless possibilities of local food. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Thanks, Wendy. A University of the West Indies Cave Hill student is the first recipient of a scholarship from the Allied Masonic District to help complete his studies. Freemasons, including the District Grand Prefect, District of South and East Caribbean, were present for the handover of a check for $3,500 to Juan Prescott at UWI this morning. District Grand Secretary of the Southeastern Caribbean District of Allied Masonic Degrees, Alfred Taylor, says charity is part of the work of Freemasons.
We will be seeking out in future needy students who are showing academic promise, but even in difficult circumstances, so that we can help them pursue their goals. And we are very, very pleased to be able to do that today.
Meanwhile, Prescott, a student in the Science and Technology Department, expressed his gratitude, saying he appreciates the kind gesture.
I hope that I'll not be the only student to receive a scholarship in the future. I hope that scholarship will help me to complete my studies.
Meanwhile, several school students have received laptops and other accessories. Compliments the Allied Masonic Valley Council in collaboration with the owner of the iShop. Don Boyce, worshipful master of the council, presented the children with their devices during a brief ceremony at the Luther Thorne Primary School. Sports time now. We say good evening to Damien Best.
Yeah, good evening to you, Shane. Good evening to our viewers. Well, Sri Lanka now need a big win against the Netherlands in their final game to qualify for the next stage. While UAE, they are winless. Meanwhile, the Netherlands edged Namibia by 5 wickets in today's earlier game to top Group A, with Sri Lanka third behind Namibia, courtesy of their inferior net run rate. Switching sports now, so far so good for the Barbados Gems at the America's Netball World Cup qualifier in Jamaica after registering their second straight win of the tournament last night. The senior women's team, who beat Cayman Islands on day one, eased past St. Lucia yesterday by 32 goals, 58-26 at the National Indoor Center in Kingston. The Gems led 11-8 in the first quarter, then extended their lead to 30-13 at halftime. The momentum continued in the third and fourth quarters, with Barbados going on to secure a 58-26 result. For Barbados, goal attack Latonia Blackman netted 26 of her 30 attempts, and goal shooter Shanika Wharton scored 24 from 31. They got good support from Brianna Holder with 8 goals from her 10 attempts. Barbados will battle the United States of America in their third fixture tonight around 9:15 Barbados time. Now, coach Adrian Cragwell says the squad is building nicely towards the tougher matches.
We started a bit slowly, but eventually, somewhere in the middle of the first quarter, the girls started to pick up a rhythm. The defense started to play extremely well, and we managed to get past the physical St. Lucian players. This game was a lot different from the one against Cayman. I think that they were a little bit more tactful, while St. Lucia was a little bit more physical. I think the girl adjusted extremely well. Going forward, we are really, really looking forward to put this unit in, full gear. We are injury-free, and we've been rested for, a period. We are expecting big things from them against the game against Grenada and St. Vincent. So our main focus is now to get these young ladies in perfect game fitness and match readiness to go against these two top opponents until we meet the Trinidadians and the Jamaicans later on in the week. But so far, so good.
The Business Report, brought to you by the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, a department of the Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment, supporting young entrepreneurs from idea to enterprise.
In tonight's Yes Business Report, we meet a young entrepreneur who is using his skills and knowledge to transform and enrich the lives of the island's disabled people of all ages. Ryan Broom has more.
What started out initially as a class project has blossomed into a labor of love for Akeem Rudder. His Include You Sports Academy has been living up to its name, truly including the island's disabled community with the aim of increasing their participation in sports and exercise. The founder and head trainer of Include You Sports Academy talks about what inspired him to start the business back in February 2021.
The inspiration came from a university assignment I was completing with at the University of the West Indies. This assignment was based on creating a program for persons with disabilities to play field hockey. And this assignment really showed me the need for activities or exercise for persons with disabilities. It showed me the research that goes behind how to improve their quality of life.
And it was right after that assignment that he traveled to the United Kingdom to play hockey on contract. And his appreciation, knowledge, and skills of the specialty area grew to an even higher level.
There I was exposed to a company called Access Sport, and with them I volunteered my time in special needs schools across Manchester region. And it was there where I really got a hands-on experience, and I really saw the need and the joy that was that the children that I work with, that they have had from the experiences. So I really wanted that for my people. I really wanted to see something like that happen in Barbados. So when I returned to Barbados from the UK is when I really started to put pen to paper to start the academy. And from there is when I started the academy, as I said, and it really branched off from there. I then worked with a number of persons just to start out to get my feet wet. And then as I developed a structure and a good strategy, then I really saw the improvement of the academy and the improvement of the athletes that I work with.
He also talked about the range of services on offer and the range of age groups that he works with.
We offer services one-to-one or small group sessions. And the reason for this is because persons with disabilities have not been very active in their lifetime. So what we do is we do one-to-one sessions so we can work on a lot of the deficits they would have had growing up and correcting some movements, and then creating a situation where they're more confident to move. And we have programs for the entire lifespan. So we work with young children, we work with young adults, and we work with adults and seniors. And with each of these age groups, we have different objectives and goals to impact their lives. So for the younger age groups, we focus on physical literacy, which is understanding the fundamentals of movement, so that as they get older, they're exposed to more activities like running, kicking, jumping, and their body is in a way, or we develop them in a way that they can continue throughout that, throughout their lifespan as it relates to sport and activity, because they've had the opportunity.
And older age groups are included.
For the young adults, we focus on more developing technique and moving into functional movement. Because they're becoming adults, we want them to be more independent adults and independent movers at that age. So we look at increasing their functional ability to move and also introducing them to sport and physical activity. Because now as they're older, we want to give them more opportunities to be social, more opportunities to be a part of society. And Special Olympics and Paralympics is a great way for them to, be in a setting where they can make the country proud, where they can make their families proud and themselves also. For the seniors, we focus on functional movement again, but is more for activities of daily living. So helping them to be able to do a lot of lifting, being able to move and move independently around their households. And again, if they're at the age where they still want to participate in recreational or sporting activities, we also provide that for them as well.
Meanwhile, he says YES has played a pivotal role in the development of his business.
YES has been a critical part of my development of the academy. They've come in and helped me with marketing. They've helped me with my accounting as well. And they always give me a lot of resources to be able to help propel my academy in a way forward and the way that I would like to see it to go. So I would always encourage any young person to reach out to YES because it is a great initiative. It helps us as young people to have a footing, to have a good foundation, to be able to see our dreams and our vision fulfilled.
Going forward, Akeem says he has plans for greater parent education, more participation in global events for his clients, and further expansion, possibly branching out regionally, given the unique nature of the business. Please note that Include You works by an appointment system, and they also do house visits as needed. So to make a booking or make an inquiry, please give them a call at 251-7122. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook with the handle IUS Barbados, or send them an email at iusbarbados@gmail.com. For the YES Business Report, I'm Ryan Broom.
Time for the second half in sports. We head back on over to the sports studio and welcome back Damien.
Yeah, thanks so much, Shane. Chad Knight held his nerve through an intense final round to emerge as the winner of the Henderson Lane Memorial Majors Division Drafts Tournament. Playing at the Lodge Road Drafts Club in Christchurch, Knight defeated Wilmer Branch 2-0 to finish at the top of the table on 27 points. He managed to edge out Eddie Moore by 1 point to clinch the championship after Moore, who started the final round with the lead, had to settle for a 1-1 draw against his rival Cletus Pinder. Knight was also challenged by David Yearwood, who needed to beat his opponent Waylon Neverson in both games to win the tournament, but Neverson proved to be a feisty adversary and restricted Yearwood to 2 draws, thus allowing Knight to clinch the title. We can also tell you, meanwhile, in the youth division, Chanel Neverson who won convincingly, finished her campaign on 22 points. Her nearest rivals were Kyle Jones, Talia Appiah, and Tyree Smith, who all tied on 14 points.
That's our news. Good night and be good. Thanks for visiting us. To get more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.